Hello, all of my fantastic, wonderful, and excellent Viking friends out there. I am glad that it is finally winter. There are presents under the tree. The tree is lit up. There's a crackling fire, and there's snow on the ground. And it seems to be just a beautiful time of the year. And unfortunately, for us who are on the carnivore, ketovore, and ketogenic realm, there's not a lot for us to eat. Or if we want it, we have to make it ourselves, including eggnog. Now, I have been scouring the internet to see if there is a ketogenic, a ketovore, and a carnivore recipe. And well, there's slim pickings. But I think I found one. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of hot chocolate to it, or a chocolate version. Not sure how I'm going to pull this off, but let's get started.
In the distance, shadows on the water. War cry erupts, steel clash sounding harder. Viking drums pound, heartbeats quicken in the night. Call of the raven, signal for the fight. Axes swing, warriors marching, no retreat. Thundering steps, more drums sink, heavy beat. Blood on the fjords, glory for the bold. Stories told in firelight, legends growing old. Legends growing old.
To start, we are going to put about 16 to 18 ounces of heavy whipping cream inside of a saucepan, and we are going to warm it up. We are not going to boil it or even get it hot enough to really impact. We're just going to warm it up just ever so slightly. And this brings me to the next step. Separate eggs. Now, I have been trying to find my little yolk separator, and I have not been able to. Somebody must have tossed it away. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to simply break an eggshell in half and apparently just dump the whole thing in. I'm going to take the half of the eggshell and scoop out the yolk, like so. Place the yolk in a separate bowl. So I'm going to do this with 18 whole eggs. The other version that I like to do is just separate it like so. You could use your hands. You could use a separator. There are many versions of this. So however you do it, you get it done. And I will see you back in about 3 minutes. Now that this is complete, I have 18 egg whites in here. You can see that. And then I have 18 egg yolks in here. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to mix this up and get it nice and frothy, but that's about it. You could use a hand mixer or any kind of mixer. I'm going to actually set this in the fridge because I think we have another recipe. Yeah, we have another recipe. So stay tuned for this one. Okay, now that we have our egg yolks in here, you could definitely use a hand mixer. The only problem that I have is that my hand mixer paddles have disappeared. And I'm not sure where they ended up. I wonder if I had some people come in and pillage and plunder my kitchen. Doesn't matter. So this is what I'm going to be doing, is just mixing this thoroughly. I'm getting this kind of whipped up a little bit. Just kind of like so. It's really thick. It's going to be delicious, actually. Okay. Then we're going to go to the stove. Okay, for our cream, it is warming up quite nicely. We do not want it hot. We just want it warm. And you could probably take a thermometer and see where it is. It's about 55 degrees Celsius or about 130 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to leave that. So what we want to do is we want to add butter. Now we could stop at the butter and just use the recipe as is, or we can continue and make this into more of a ketogenic kind of recipe. We're going to let that butter melt. Now for a ketogenic recipe, you can add Lily's chocolate, or for more of a ketovore recipe, I gotcha. We are going to add a chocolate extract. About 5 drops, maybe 6. Okay. And this is going to smell like chocolate. Very amazing. Very amazing here. We're going to let this sit for another 2 to 3 minutes. Now, here is where you can also differentiate your flavors. You can add just vanilla, or you can add a rum extract. Now, these are completely optional. You can also add a cinnamon extract if you really wanted to. It is completely up to you. Now, the flavoring is absolutely divine at this point in time. You can add pure vanilla beans if you wanted to. If you really wanted to, you could add a little bit of honey. This is also where the ketovore versus the ketogenic versus the carnivore realm diverge. The ketovores are okay with a little tiny bit of sweetener. The ketogenic realm, they love to add more of allulose or swerve or any kind of sweetener like that. Whereas the carnivores, they stick to honey or they leave it natural flavoring. And whatever you want is completely okay. I am going to add a ketovore version. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of stevia leaf and monk fruit. Now, there was a comment on one of my videos that sweeteners are bad. Yes, yes. And sugar's bad. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Would I do honey? Possibly. Possibly. There have been some studies out there, and I'm not sure, I can't quote anything, but there have been some studies that honey is definitely better than, especially artificial sweeteners, but table sugar. So honey is definitely an option. If you do have fatty liver, however, or cancer, I would highly recommend not putting honey in your eggnog. And the reason being is because fructose is quite a different beast when it is digested in the liver. Okay, so we're going to let that sit for another 5 to 10 minutes and let that just amalgamate, stir in, get nice and hot. And I'll be back in 2 to 3 minutes. It actually looks pretty good. After I brought it to a boil, I set it over here, and it looks actually really thick. It didn't curdle, thank goodness. You definitely don't want it to curdle, so you have to bring it up to a boil slowly. Boil it for just a second while you're stirring it and then remove it from the heat. So I'm going to take the temperature. I want it 160 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 70 degrees centigrade or Celsius. And I'm going to then slowly stir this in while whisking the egg yolks inside of this. Now, what I really wanted to do was get a little bit of honey inside. This is a honey bourbon flavor. Not sure what they add in here. That's just vanilla extract, bourbon vanilla beans. I don't know. Natural bourbon flavor. So I'm going to add a little bit in here and see what we got. Now, I hate to say this, but this is not hot enough. So I'm going to put this back onto the stove and I am going to bring it back up to a boil, but a harder boil while stirring this. And see if I can get it to 160 degrees Fahrenheit or 70 degrees centigrade and see if this works. Now, I'm definitely not touching the bottom. Do not rest the thermometer on the bottom of the pan. I've learned that lesson several times. Once takes a certain stupidity, but twice. Anyway, I will see you back here in about 2 minutes. All right, so brought it to a boil, and now we're going to check the temperature one more time and see if it did indeed climb to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 70 degrees centigrade. And we've passed it just ever so slightly. We do not want it hotter. So while this is cooling just ever so slightly, I'm going to add the bourbon honey here. And we can go ahead and also add a little bit more rum extract and a little bit more chocolate extract. Because why not? A little bit more chocolate. Okay. Sure. I can't wait to see how this tastes. I'm thoroughly excited. Okay, this is the scary part because I don't want the eggs to cook. I want this to be, I don't know. Okay, hold on. All right. Well, here goes nothing. 160 degrees, no hotter. Put this down here, just like that. All right. Here goes nothing. Okay. Be sure to whisk in little tiny bits. Oh, okay. All right. All right. I think the temperature was just right. We're going to go ahead and whisk this in thoroughly and keep on whisking. And we're going to keep on whisking this for about 2 minutes so that it can cool down and get thicker. The thicker it gets, the better, the more delicious it is. Now, typically eggnog is served cold and it is an alcoholic beverage, but if you are a strict carnivore, you are going to not want to put any kind of alcohol in this. However, if you are more of a dirty carnivore or ketovore or even ketogenic, then you can definitely add a little bit of rum or bourbon, or because this is bourbon flavor, it kind of takes the flavor out of it. I'm going to see if I can't find a recipe to make bourbon honey. Otherwise, this is from Durango, Colorado, and the Honeyville Colorado company. Bottled with equipment that may contain tree nuts, milk, and soy and peanuts. Just so you are very aware. And if you wanted to, they're not sponsored, of course, but I just like to support local honey farmers. Honeyvillecolorado.com. And if you wanted to get a free catalog because they have different honeys, then call 1-800 676 7690. Again, not sponsored, but I do support local bee farmers. Okay, so I think this has been cooled enough to try it. So I'm going to try a little bit since it is mostly ketovore. And I am going to let Hans try it. I am not sure if he wants to do, because he's on a ketogenic diet. And so I'm not sure if he wants to do a ketovore or a ketogenic. You know what? I'm going to surprise him. Might as well, right? All right. I'm going to make a mess, and that's just how it's going to be. Perfect. I knew I was going to make a mess. Nothing in my household stays clean. And then we spend 2 or 3 hours cleaning. Okay. Hold on. Right. Oh, Hans. There you go. All right. I got nothing but ice. Hold on. It's okay. I think it's okay. What does it need? More honey, more sweetener. But honestly, for a carnivore, this isn't bad at all. What do you think, Hans? He likes it. This is great. This is awesome. You could definitely add a little bit more chocolate in there. You could definitely add some rum or bourbon. Or if you are ketogenic, you could definitely add some more monk fruit or swerve. It is completely up to you. But until next time, my friends, this is just another version of eggnog that you can enjoy. So until next time, my friends, lycka till. Skål! Now that we have done that, we have 18. I'm going to put this over here. Now that we have done that, we have 18 yolks in here. No, 8. Now that we have fully separated and I washed my hands, made a mess, we have 18 egg whites. Now that this is complete, we have a full egg. Although this honey is pretty solidified. Boy, this is like watching paint dry. Okay. It is about one, well, not there yet.
Steal the spotlight for a second.
Okay. All right, because I have 2 minutes left on this video. So this is actually a Honeyville bourbon vanilla wildflower honey. It is collected here in Colorado from a local bee farmer from Durango, actually. I guess it wouldn't be local, but depends on how local is local. How local is local? Last bit of honey over here. Okay. All right, ready? Oh my goodness. We're going to have Hans taste test this. Why is my cupboard open?